Good afternoon, I'm Milton Walker with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. Detectives from the St. Catherine North Division are now at the scene of a double murder on Old Harbour Road in St. Catherine. The bodies of a man and woman were discovered with multiple gunshot wounds shortly after 7 this morning. One of the deceased has been identified as Christopher Chambers, otherwise called Footer. The woman is unidentified. Shortly after 4 this morning, residents in Hopedale, Old Harbour, heard gunfire and called the police. Following a search, the bodies of the two were found in a wooden house. Investigators say Mr. Chambers was aligned to the Andre Blackman Bryan faction of the Klansman gang. This is the first murder in the St. Catherine North Division since the state of emergency was lifted on Wednesday, January 2. The Manchester police are reporting a 25% reduction in all serious and violent crimes for 2018. But commanding officer, Superintendent Wayne Cameron, says he's not as optimistic about the coming year.
We've seen a 31% reduction in murders. Breaking, which we know is a real challenge in this parish, we've seen a 30% reduction, 82 less breakings when compared to 2017. We have also seen a 32% reduction in robberies. All the other categories have been reduced as well. And so we know that 2019, therefore, is going to be a tough year because you now have smaller figures working with when you make your comparisons. So it is going to be far more challenging to keep the trend going down.
The Nurses Association of Jamaica, NAJ, is concerned that the outbreak of the mosquito-borne dengue fever could put a further strain on its members. NAJ President Carmen Johnson says already some members have been working double time to attend to patients because of a shortage of nurses.
You have reduced numbers of staff because of migration, etc. And so you have overcrowding on some of the wards, especially our pediatric wards. And so you have had to have the same persons who have been working the various shifts, doubling up another shift to ensure coverage. And so the sooner we get this under control, is it better for us because then we may not have enough staff to outlast the longevity of the dengue outbreak.
Mr. Johnson is therefore urging the government to ramp up the public education campaign to prevent the spread of dengue. She's also urging the government to ensure that medicine and medical supplies are continuously in stock to treat patients.
Well, for now, I know they don't have a challenge with acetaminophen. But what I do know is that because many persons were overlooking the symptoms to say, oh, I have a viral illness and were self-treating, persons now recognizing the complications that dengue can bring will not go into the health facility in more numbers to see that intervention. And so it is our hope, because we have had that problem before, it is our hope that it will be there in adequate supplies throughout the period.
There's more to discuss. That's according to Councillor for the Little London Division in St. James, Ian Miles, about the ban on single-use plastic bags and styrofoam. The ban took effect on Tuesday. Councillor Miles questioned the government's policy on the ban with regards to international companies operating in Jamaica.
How are we going to treat the international companies which operate in Jamaica, where there's not a ban in these countries, especially in the USA? And I don't want to call names, but these major food companies, how are we going to treat them? Are they out of plastic, or are they still using the plastic containers and bags?
He added that this level of uncertainty is due to the lack of public education by the relevant agencies.
It was a premature move on the part of the government. It was not one that was thought through properly and carefully. You know, change is a must. It's inevitable that we have change. However, it's how changes are implemented that makes a difference in terms of how it is received.
More job opportunities should be made available in Jamaica following the opening of a showroom and service centre for luxury motor vehicle brands Jaguar and Land Rover. Ground was broken yesterday at Arthur Wint Drive in St. Andrew. The $13 million project will have a 5-story structure. The first 2 floors will have showrooms, while the other 3 will be rented to businesses in the outsourcing sector. General Manager of Stewart Motors, Duncan Stewart, said that one of the benefits that the project will bring is increase in employment.
More employment will be created for the persons in and around the community who will be part of the construction team. We will also house a business process outsourcing facility that will create employment opportunities for Jamaicans in this area and beyond.
The owners say the project, the first of its kind in the Caribbean, will give customers a world-class experience.
We've left no stone unturned to deliver on our family's promise of unparalleled service to our customers. With this facility, we will have the space to grow and to service our growing Jaguar Land Rover vehicle population in Jamaica. The layout, combined with investments in tooling and training, will allow us to raise our productivity. And of course, this standalone facility will give our customers exclusivity and dedicated attention that they don't have right now.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness said that he is grateful for the investment, which can boost the country's economy.
It is quite clear that from the fiscal standpoint, from the macro standpoint, government has acted in such a way as to give greater certainty to the economic environment, to allow businesses to take future decisions, and not just short-term future, but long-term future decisions, and to bring forward or actualize their investment decisions. This would be a perfect example.
The project is slated to be completed by September 2019. Pressure is mounting on the government to intervene in the ongoing impasse between Rubis Jamaica and the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association, the JGRA. For a third day, a demonstration was held over the termination of a member's license. In response, Rubis is defending its actions. More in this TVJ News follow-up.
A show of solidarity. Workers and industry players on Thursday turned out in support of businessman and former JGRA President Philip Chong. They converged at the headquarters of Rubis Jamaica on Windward Road.
No Mr. Chong, no Rubis, because these men and his workers, them know how to approach people and deal with people. Papa, and the problem, that man there sit down with you and talk to you, him and his workers.
Rubis is bad for Jamaica. Rubis has been involved in everything that is bad. They have been involved in oppressive behavior, very unfair practices. They have featured in everything that is bad. They have featured in bad gas. They have featured in everything. If Jamaica will judge Rubis, they would have a failing mark.
Rubis recently terminated Mr. Chong's contract. He was the dealer of the company's water lane service station.
I do not think that we should live in fear in our country. And I really think that the Jamaica government should step in and help us. Because if they don't help us, we are going to be out of business. A lot of us is going to be out of business.
Rubis has since rubbished the allegation, as well as claims made by the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association, JGRA, that insufficient notice was given for the termination of the contract. In a 2-page news release, Rubis explained that Mr. Chong was given 60 days notice instead of the 30 days stipulated in the license agreement. The release further stated that the license granted in January 2014 to Mr. Chong to operate the downtown Kingston site was for an initial period of 1 year and included a provision for it to be terminable by Rubis without cause. The company insists the license, inclusive of its terms and conditions, was signed willingly by Mr. Chong. The agreement signed makes no provision for exit compensation. As it relates to the future of the operations on Water Lane, according to Rubis, it will continue to operate and will boast a full complement of staff. The termination notice takes effect January 5. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
In the meantime, the Embattled dealer Philip Chong pointed out to TVJ News that Rubis has sought to take the establishment from its control to maximize its profits.
They had built a gully wall behind the station that had collapsed, and it cost $50 million. They stated that they wanted to recover that. So there was no initial discussion with us.
He also told TVJ News that concerns were raised by the management of Rubis about him not defending them while he was president of the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association.
If you claim that you have nothing to do with bad gas, why you want to be defended? I am mystified by that comment, but I take straight offense to it. I feel I'm victimized because of that, because there's no other reason.
In news overseas, a new report could shed light on why an American was arrested in Moscow, Russia, and charged with espionage. A Russian news site claims Paul Whelan was caught trying to recruit a Russian citizen. Details from the CNN.
It's at this former KGB prison in a suburb of Moscow that Paul Whelan, now formally charged with espionage, is being held. His Russian defense lawyer told CNN his detention is unwarranted. But he says he has now been granted access to the former US Marine, whose mood he describes as cheerful, with no depression. It's the first public indication we've had of how Whelan is holding up behind bars. The only thing is a problem with hygiene items, the lawyer said, such as a razor, shaving foam, toothbrush, toothpaste, underwear. Paul asked for these items and investigators will ask the prison administration to supply them. It was at this upscale hotel in central Moscow, the five-star Metropole, where Whelan was staying when he was detained. There's still been no official explanation of the circumstances, except that he was, quote, caught spying by the FSB, Russia's main counter-espionage agency. But now, one private Russian news agency, Rosbolt, quotes an intelligence source as saying Whelan was arrested in his room at the Metropole 5 minutes after he accepted a flash drive with a list of employees working at a classified security agency. The report also makes reference to Whelan's presence on Russian social media. Rosbolt's source says the security consultant sought out Russian internet users, tracked and selected in advance by American intelligence. CNN can't independently verify the report.
In sports, with the 2018 season yielding the NACAC title and a silver medal at the Commonwealth Games, triple jumper Shanika Ricketts is among the nominees for the National Sportswoman of the Year. Simon Preston has our story in this preview.
26-year-old Shanika Ricketts had a year to remember as she took the North American, Central American and Caribbean Championships NACAC title with a record jump of 14.25 meters. She also recorded a personal best of 14.61 meters to land the gold at the Athletics World Cup. TVJ Sports track and field analyst Dwayne Extall believes she has all the assets to continue her good form in 2019.
Between herself and Kimberly, she is better technically. She has the range, she has the height, she has the legs, so to speak. When you look at Shanika, her build is built like a triple jumper that can manage the technique. Kimberly, on the other hand, she's very strong, very powerful, very fast. But Shanika Ricketts, she's very smooth. She's very compact with her phases and she knows how to execute properly.
Extall has an idea as to why Jamaica continues to improve in the field events.
I think most of our coaches here have realized what they needed to fix, how they need to get stuff in place for the jumpers to be jumping better. So that's why I think we've been improving in certain areas. And for the longest while, most of our jumpers would have been coming from overseas. Now we have local jumpers who are doing well on the world stage. So it's a great sign that our program is improving, but it's not an overnight thing. This is something that's been in the making almost 10 years now. So it's a great sight to see for our nation.
The RGR Gleena Foundation National Sportsman and Sportswoman of the Year Awards Gala will be held on January 18 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Live coverage can be seen on TVJ, TVJSN, OneSpotMedia.com with radio coverage on Hits 92 FM. Reporting for TVJ Sports, I'm Simon Preston.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Milton Walker. Join us at 7 for Primetime News on behalf of the news, sports and production teams. Good afternoon.